In this module, we are going to learn and understand date and time. The functions which we are going to cover here is now, today, date value and time value. Now returns the current date and time. Today returns the current date. Date value actually converts a date text to a number, and time value converts a time text to a number. So let's see what all these are through some examples. Now before we get that, just to make you understand that date time is something very important topic, because date time data type is very different from the way you handle numbers and string. Internally, Excel also have a different way of handling date and time. Now before we go into these functions, let me show you a few shortcuts. Like for example, if I want to print the current date in this cell immediately without any function, then what should I use? I can use this shortcut key which I mentioned here, which is control and semicolon. Now immediately when you press control and semicolon together, you will get this date, which is the current date, the time at which I am recording this video. Similarly, the current time is control shift semicolon. So this is a very quick shortcut. You might find it handy in your day-to-day work, where you would be wanting to print the current date and time quickly on your sheet. However, this will not get updated every minute or seconds or every day. You won't find this getting updated on your sheet. This is fixed, and this is a literal. So therefore it will not change. Sorry. The other thing is that the Excel has a range of date which it can support. Now a date or time, date is basically what? It can extend from infinity to infinity, right? So there is no limit of the date. So every software has a range which it can support. Now Excel has a range as well. So valid date in Excel is between the minimum date and the maximum date, which is the 1st of Jan 1900 till the 31st of December 1999. So if you give any date which is between these two dates, Excel consider that to be a valid date. Else it will consider that to be a text and not format is at a date. Now for example, if I give here first, so I'll go here and say 1st of Jan 1900. So is it acceptable as a date? So the moment it aligns itself to the right, it means it's a valid date, right? But suppose I give 1st of Jan, or if I say 31st of December 1899. Now you see, it doesn't align itself to the right, but to the left, which means that it takes this as a normal, text. It just takes this as a general text, right? So it doesn't take the date and time. So if you just move this back to 01/01/1900, so it takes that. Similarly, if you take 31st of December 9999, that's a valid date, and that's the maximum date you can have. Okay, but the moment you say that, okay, after 999 I have so it says, sorry, this is not a valid date. Why? Because we don't support this date. So just for the sake of information, you have the minimum date and the maximum date as far as the Excel date range is concerned. So valid date is between these two dates. So any date between these two dates is considered to be a valid date. Okay. Now coming to how internally data is stored in Excel. Now in Excel, date is actually stored as a number since 1st of Jan 1900. For example, if I say 1, right? If I say 1 here, now and I go to my format cell. So I say 1, go to my format cell and go to my date. If I convert this 1 into date, so internally this 1, if I convert to this date, is 1st of Jan 1900. That means the starting date. So it means this is the first date of your date, valid date. So what is the first date of a valid date? That's your minimum date, which is 1st of Jan 1900. So if I'll say okay. Now if I say what is the fifth day after 1900, so this is the fifth day. So 5th of Jan 1900. What is the 365th day? What is the 365th day? Right? What is the 365th day after since 1st of Jan 1900? So it's 30th of December. That means this year is a leap year. So if I say what is the 366th day, it says 31st of December. Okay, so therefore, internally, date is stored as a number, right? So please remember that. And therefore, we have these functions out here to, if you give a value to your date and a number to your date, it'll give you the text. Now, for example, I'll come to this function. Before with that, I will just say internally, time is stored as a fraction of an hour. Like for example, if I say is equal to 1 divided by 24, right? So this is what? The first hour of the 24 hours day. So what is the fraction of this? This is 0.41, whatever. I select this, go to the format cell and convert this into time. So it shows me 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock at night. Okay, I'll say okay. Now if I say here 12, that is in the afternoon, that means half the day has gone, right? So it shows me what? 12. Now if I say here 13, that means it's around 1 p.m., right? So it's 13. It's showing me in hour, 24-hour format. That is why it's showing me 13. Similarly, if I say 24 divided by 24, that means it's the midnight. So it shows me 000. So time is stored as a fraction, please remember, and date is stored as a number. So if I say 1.5, it means what? If I say this to be format cell, so I will show you one custom format which says that DD, and this one is the format from the custom I just picked up just to show you. It means that 1st of Jan 1912, that means 1.5 here, 1.5 if I say, that's the first one is the day, since 1st of Jan 1900, so it's 1st of Jan, and 0.5 is the hour, that means half the day, right? Similarly, if I say 10.5, 10.5, then 10th of Jan 1900. So this particular demo tells you what is the internal way of storing date and time in Excel. Now you have these functions here via which you can actually get the current date and time. Now for example, if you look at the now function, right? So if you look at the now function is equal to now, right? If you look at this now function, what does this now function gives me? It gives me the current date, right? And similarly, if I just format this also as date and time, I format this also as date and time. So I have this date and time here. If I format this, so it just shows me the current date and time. Okay, but if I say here below, if I say today, right? If I say today and I say enter and I format also this format cell into the current date and time, right? So if I can make it show me both, so it shows me the midnight always. So the time factor will always be the midnight part. So now, and this will always keep updating itself. Now for example, if I want to show the millisecond part as well, so I can go here and format cell. I can say okay, with the minutes also show me milliseconds and say okay. I'll just increase the size. It shows me the millisecond, right? So every time I do something and I say enter, see it gets updated, right? It gets updated. It gets updated. So whenever the sheet gets refreshed, it gets updated. But this will not get updated. Why? Because this will basically not show me the current name. So it's not the today function or now function which I have used to do this. Now since we have used a function, every time I refresh my cell, sheet, it will get refreshed and the current date and time would be shown. So that is how date and today and now works. Similarly, how does date and time value works basically? Okay, how does date value and time value works? Now date value is basically, if you give, it converts the date text to a number. So if you give it a date text, like for example, if you say is equal to, so if you say 1st of Jan 1900, right? But don't consider this to be a, so I go back here, go to the format cell, and I make this I make this date in this format, and I convert this into a text. So I just put a apostrophe in front, so this becomes a text. Now if I say is equal to date value, what is the numerical representation of this internally? So if I just select this and send, it says, okay, this, I go to format cell here again and give it a general, so it's 1. So it says 1. Now if I say what is like second, so it says 2. That means this is the second day of the minimum date you have. Suppose I say, okay, I want to say how many days have passed since 1900 till 2000. So it says 36,527. That means 2nd of Jan 2000 is the 36,527th day from 1st of Jan 1900. So this way date value gives you a number which actually is the number of days passed since the minimum date. Similarly, you will get a time text. So here also you can say 00, or you can say 01. That is the way you put it, and then you say time value and you pass this. What you will get here is a fraction, which is 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. whatever. Okay, so this is 1 a.m. so this is not 1 p.m. basically, because this is showing me 1 because this is in 24-hour format. So if I give here 13 for example, right, so it's 0.541. So if I give here 12 for example, it shows me 0.5, that means half the day. If I give here 24 for example, that means it's almost 12 p.m. so it shows me 0. Okay, so this way it will give me the value of the time as well. So that's about this particular date and time and how it works, what is the minimum and maximum date, and what is the view of date value and date time value, and internally how date is stored in Excel.